Welcome to the StockMiner.com studios here in the Black Hills of South Dakota. I'm your stockminer Brian Johnson, making professional trading simple. And the market gapped up and ran up most of the day. We did have a little bit towards the morning where it dribbled down, only to be met by more buying. And eventually, by the end of the day, finished up almost 1.5% on all of the indices straight across the board. So we are watching this upper line was violated ever so slightly today. This does make for a potential entry long into the markets. By the end of the day, it had come back down, though. Obviously, no confirmation by the bears today to the downside, and obviously, Mondays are still good days for the bulls. Overall, lots of Mondays being either up to sideways. Today, no exception, with a pretty decent 1.5-ish or so percent move. So here we get above this blue line, come back below it at the end of the day. Really doesn't give us anything to go off of, except still neutral bullish. I can't, the charts have not given me any reasons to be super bearish yet. We talked about, I'm going to go right to the daily. I talked about this head and shoulders we were watching, and look what happened. We went right back up. Why? Golly, I just can't get excited about obvious patterns, super obvious patterns, and this head and shoulders pattern just looked little too obvious to me. Can it still break? Absolutely. I mean, it isn't a failed head and shoulders at this point. It is, however, in serious jeopardy if we have any follow through tomorrow by the bulls. Just to carry up over this 11,200 area, more conservative traders up over 11, maybe 250 for the more conservative to go long tomorrow. But I would say over 11,225 and or back below 10,950 are my two marks in the sand to for your long and your short. However, the head and shoulders not holding or not playing out as would be expected to the bear side. We saw no follow through today by the bear. So nothing to be concerned about there. Here you see the NASDAQ hitting this blue line perfectly today. So love TA. Get your lines in the right place and sure can make things a lot easier. Once again, waiting to see if we get that more major break below 1990 and or now a break back above the 2040. Notice how the 2040 area, which was an area I said like 2040 to 2050, is a bigger overhead area. 2040 holding nicely today with the high being 2039.52. So 2040 is still a strong area of overhead resistance in the NASDAQ. However, another strike of it pulling back into moving averages. We'll see if this comes right back down and starts to create some sort of a triangle. I don't know yet. A little bit too early to tell yet exactly where this is going to go, but that's certainly where we are currently at from a on all the indices really. Okay, so shoulder, head, shoulder failed for today at least. Waiting for the more major breakdown here to the lower side, back above 2050, and I should anyway. Probably looking for maybe some overhead resistance then at this blue line. So any heavy push up in the NASDAQ up over 2050, looking for this blue line to be your area of overhead resistance at that point. We have broken the blue line, but we have not really revisited it. So I would still expect maybe a revisit of this on any serious bullishness into the NASDAQ. My short is still below 1990. From a weekly standpoint, it's only Monday, not going to worry about it quite yet. SPX on a 60-minute, push up and over here as well. This one's showing a little bit different in the respect that it broke up and over. The NASDAQ hit the blue line, retreated. The Dow hit the blue line, broke it, came back below it by the end of the day, closed below it. The S&P broke above it, came back, closed above it. So S&P actually showing a little bit more strength at this point. Now I could probably fiddle with this line a little bit. So once again, can't take it too literally. Just bigger overall picture idea of what's going on. But this break and this hold of a line could be a very bullish sign. Really just waiting for a more major break up here above 1210. It's probably your entry to start looking from a more conservative standpoint, an entry to the long side. and then still below the 1075 area for your more conservative short. Daily standpoint, have this kind of head and shoulders pattern we've been watching at more of a diagonal. It's kind of ugly at this point now to kind of try and make that out in the S&P. Yeah, so even hard to even consider it, actually, to be honest. A head and shoulders on the S&P daily, like we're seeing on the other two indices, without a touch of this blue line. And obviously we haven't made it there yet. So back above 1210, back below 1180ish. Those are still my areas of long and short in the markets. Blue line doing what? Man, isn't that amazing? Holding nicely so far. Okay, we're one day into it. It's only Monday. However, the blue line on the weekly holding very, very nicely at this point. It's a long ways from anything right now. Friday is a long ways away for the markets at this point. Anything can happen during the week, but obviously from a weekly standpoint, watching for this blue line to be broken. VIX on a daily also coming back down. See, look at this. Lots of indecision in here, guys. Up and back down and up and back down. And man, there's the markets aren't really sure how to. I'm not sure that they're really confident in where this market's going at the current time. We're just waiting for a further break to the downside here, especially once we get back below this 1750 area. That's really going to once again show us more complacency within the markets from a fear standpoint. I don't know if you guys Elliott wave this at all, but I mean maybe a 1, 2, 3. This is a 4 before a 5 up. I mean, I don't know. I don't worry too much about the TA of the VIX. I just kind of look to see, is it high, is it low, where's fear in the market, and fear is very indecisive right now. I can't give you a real indication. Down here, lots of complacency. Up here, hard to figure at this point. From a weekly standpoint, also on its way back down is finding some support here, but it's one day. I'm not going to worry about it. It's weekly. Apple still forming the same type of area we've been looking at, doing what the markets are doing, kind of forming this triangle. So waiting for breaks of this area. I'm still looking at 257.50 for a short, 272.50 for a long. Daily perspective, look how this blue line's holding nicely. Didn't I mention this blue line? Yeah, I think so. Blue line's doing a very, very fine job. This blue line has been very good to us on all the other indices too. It's just working really, really well right now with support and resistance. So watching for more major breaks. Apple as a whole, straight sideways, not really doing anything. Hasn't really shown us any direction currently. So, however, I will say that as long as it stays below the blue line, got to remain quasi-bearish in the short term on Apple. Certainly nothing in the bigger picture to tell me to get uber bearish on Apple, and I don't like getting short Apple anyway. Too strong right here. From a weekly standpoint, you can see bigger picture, there's nothing broke. Even after that big dive we had last week, nothing broke. Everything looks just fine right now. We're only one day into it. Candle hasn't closed yet. This could, continue its little pullback. But man, this thing has to get below 240 at this point before Apple really starts to look weak from a trading standpoint. AINV on a 60-minute coming up today, 48 cents. That move overall is a 4% move. So we did not get the break below $12. As we come back down, you can see it holding nicely to this lower support and springboarding itself back up again all day long. FAS on a 60-minute caught in this channel / falling wedge, whatever you want to call it. I'm still waiting for more, for bigger breaks above these areas. If you want to day trade it, that's fine. Like I said, probably the way to do it right now. But above 110 for me or below 100 in the bigger picture for your long and your short, you can see it just kind of trapped in this formation overall, though, guys. Had somebody ask me about it again yesterday. I think they're kind of bearish on the financials. And I said, well, it just looks like a big bull flag. And he was like, yeah, it just looks like a big bull flag. So I have to remain bullish up here. I think this is maybe just a 1, 2, 3. This is a big 4. Now, this pullback could happen for a while. It could come back here, but as long as it doesn't really start to split down here below 90 or so, this is still just looking like a big bull flag. Waiting for breaks up and over 110 could make for a very decent longer term hold in FAS and or a longer term short in FAZ, depending on how you like to play it. This here still looking like a bear flag for the current time till we get back up and over that 13 area, which was my bigger line to go long. Below 11 is my line in the sand to look for a short position in FAZ. And that's it. All right, that'll do it for today's video. I'll be back with you again tomorrow. Still have those more major levels to continue to watch all week long. We were bullish today, but no real direction yet on the market. So I'm not going to say, hey, I'm more bullish going into tomorrow. Hey, I'm more bearish going into tomorrow. Why? That's right. The charts aren't giving me a direction either way. And I play the charts, not my own bias. So I've tried to play my own bias, and I keep getting my hand slapped. It's just not worth it. Play what the charts are telling you, and the charts are telling me right now to kind of sit on my hands, be cautious. This is when I start to A, stick with day trading the indices, or B, look to individual stocks for my trades